He found a starving vampire alien girl in the junkyard and chose to save her. The junkyard lay silent under the moons of the ruined colony world of Nyrex 9. Twisted metal shatter hulls and collapsed shuttles stretched for kilometers, a graveyard of old wars and forgotten tech. Most avoided it. Some scavenged. Fewer survived. Dax Keller was one of the few. He moved carefully between the rusted shadows of fallen drop ships and broken mechs. His scanner low on power, his backpack half full of scraps. Another empty day. Another hopeless search for something valuable enough to buy food and filtration tabs for the week. And then he heard it. A soft, wet cough. He paused. Turned. It wasn't the usual clatter of fallen debris or wind through pipework. This was organic. He stepped toward the sound. Behind the bent frame of a decaying transport shuttle, he found her, curled up in a makeshift nest of insulation foam and shredded cables, wrapped in a torn thermal blanket stained dark red. Her skin was pale gray, thin and almost translucent under the moonlight. Her hair, white like starlight, clung to her sunken cheeks. But it was her eyes, when they fluttered open, that froze him. Blood red, not metaphorically, not dyed, literally red, glowing softly in the dark. She bared her teeth weakly, two fangs sharp and unmistakable. A vampire, but not the mythic kind. An alien variant. The Thal'ari. They had once been enemies of the human colonies, feared for their parasitic feeding instincts and superior reflexes. Most were driven into exile after the war. Dax should have walked away. He should have radioed it in. But she didn't look dangerous. She looked like she was dying. "I won't hurt you," he said, slowly crouching down. She hissed, a dry, hollow sound of protest. Her claws twitched. He reached into his bag, pulled out a protein bar, and gently tossed it toward her. Her eyes flicked to the package. Then to him. "I know it's not what you need," he said, "but it's better than starving." For a long moment, she didn't move. Then she lunged, not at him, but at the bar. She tore into it like an animal, chewing even through the wrapper. Her hands shook. Her breath came in ragged gulps. Dax watched in silence. When she was done, she sagged back against the wall, eyes half-lidded. "Why?" Her voice was a whisper, cracked and unsure. "Because you're not a threat," he said. "You're starving. You should be afraid." "Are you going to kill me?" She looked at him. "No," she said. "Then I'll come back tomorrow, with more food and water." "You're insane." "Probably." He came back the next day, and the day after. Each time he brought something: food, warm cloth, bandages, a solar lamp. She refused his help at first, but slowly began to accept it, barely speaking, always watching. Her name was Alyra. She'd been a child during the war, captured, studied, escaped, then forgotten. She had lived in the shadows of the junkyard for months, feeding on vermin, sometimes draining wounded scavengers who strayed too close. But she hated it, hated the hunger, hated herself. "I'm not human," she whispered once, after a meal. "I'm a monster." Dax shook his head. "You're a girl who's been through hell. Your kind hunted mine. Not me." She looked away. "You're not like them." He didn't know if that was praise or pity, but he kept coming back. One night, scavengers entered the yard. Not like him. These were looters, armed, dangerous, looking for rare tech or lost alien weapons. When they stumbled upon Alyra's corner, they dragged her out into the open, thinking she was some drugged-up thief. She screamed. Dax was there in seconds. He didn't think, just moved. "Let her go," he shouted. The men turned, laughing. "She's a freak," one spat. "We're putting her down." Then Alyra looked up, and her hunger awakened. Her eyes glowed. her claws extended. Dax saw the moment the vampire inside her broke loose. In seconds, 2 of the scavengers were on the ground, twitching, drained. The others fled in terror. Lyra stood in the moonlight, breathing hard, blood on her lips. Dax didn't move. She turned to him, shame rippling across her face. I didn't mean to. I know. I tried to hold back. I know. She collapsed into him, trembling, and he held her. From that night on, things changed. Lyra no longer avoided his eyes. She asked questions, smiled sometimes. Slowly, her strength returned. She cleaned herself. Her skin darkened to its proper storm gray shade. Her hair grew fuller. But what struck Dax most was how gentle she was. Despite everything, despite her nature, she never took more than she needed. She never hurt animals. She asked permission every time she fed from him, barely a few drops. He never said no. "Why do you keep helping me?" she asked one night as they watched the stars. "Because I want to," he said. "That's not an answer." "It is for me." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "Do you miss Earth?" she asked. "I never knew it. I was born in orbit, grew up on colony ships. My home's wherever people treat each other right." She was quiet, then whispered, "Would you stay if I asked?" He looked at her. "I already have." When the patrols came weeks later, searching for signs of hidden tech, Dax tried to hide her, but the scanners picked her up. They called her a fugitive, a threat. They pointed weapons at her. Dax stood in front of her. "She's not dangerous," he shouted. "She's hungry. She's been alone. You don't get to judge her when you left her to die in a dump." One officer fired a warning shot. Dax didn't flinch. Then Lyra stepped forward and fell to her knees. "Take me," she said. "Just don't hurt him." The officer hesitated, then lowered his weapon. They took her into custody. Dax fought every day to get her a trial. He gave testimony, showed medical data, argued with scientists and soldiers and officials who had never once looked into her eyes. In the end, the truth won. She was released under his guardianship. "I don't want to be your burden," she said. "You're not," he said, smiling. "You're my choice." Years passed. They lived on the outskirts of a new colony, where no one asked questions, where the sky was clear and the nights were quiet. She grew stronger. He grew older. But neither of them grew apart. One day, under a copper sky, she looked at him and said softly, "I used to think love was just hunger with a different name." He looked at her, eyes warm. "And now I think it's the thing that saved me." He took her hand. "No," he said gently. "You saved yourself. I just reminded you how." And somewhere, far from the broken bones of old machines and forgotten wars, a vampire girl and a human man watched the stars together, alive, together, at peace.